Hey, welcome to Casual Shenanigans Gaming. My name is JERMgaming. I'm one of your hosts. I'm sorry for the stunted intro right there. I just got a text message from Dave, who normally is one of our co-hosts, and this will be the first podcast that he is not in at the beginning. And the reason for that is he just bought a second GTX 680, and now his computer won't even post. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, it basically means the computer isn't doing anything. So he might be back later, or he might not, but for now we're just going to move on and pretend like he's dead to us. This is normally a podcast all about Battlefield, DayZ, and all things PC gaming related, which it kind of is tonight, but actually tonight our main focus of the podcast is going to be Joel and his new movie that he has created. And now, typically we'd start the podcast with the news, but I actually cut the news out because we had so much to talk about tonight. And then right after this was going to be Dave talking about DayZ for a couple minutes, but Dave is trying to figure out why his computer hates him. So let's just introduce everybody, and we'll just go from there because our schedule's already been torn to pieces in like the first 30 seconds. But I'm JERMgaming. I'm one of your hosts. Tonight we were joined by James, friend of the podcast.
Hello.
Joel, our esteemed director and artistic visionary.
Hey guys.
Jonah. Joel's older brother, right?
Younger brother.
Younger brother. Okay, well you just looked older.
Yes,
and more
Joel is the
debonair than
runt
Joel.
of the litter.
Joel's actually, he's really old for the way he looks. I guess, Steven, when you first met Joel, how old did you think he was?
I'm Steven, and when I met Joel, I don't know. I made no assumptions. I was like, this guy could be any age.
Well,
Maybe
I was thinking
time traveler.
I was thinking like 22, 23, something like that, but no, Joel's like 30.
Yeah.
Or 28, something like that. But
I think the first words he said to me were time travel, and so I was like, all right, everything's up in the air.
Okay, so I guess, well, Joel, here, you and I can carry the DayZ talk. We're gonna get DayZ out of the way so we can go on to the actual content for tonight. So we'll just go ahead and get that out of the way, and if Joel gets back or Dave gets back in time, great. If he doesn't, who cares? But DayZ, we've been playing a lot. It was really fun. What did you do in DayZ last night, Joel?
I was a leader of a cult.
Briefly. And like all cults, it started out really innocently. We were just all hanging out, having a good time. And then Joel started beating someone to death, screaming about the power of Christ compelling them. It kind of progressed from there. We killed some people who had demons in them, according to Joel.
That was awesome.
We had a couple followers who gave us an offering of beans, and they all ended up getting sacrificed to the great train of righteousness, is what I think you ended up calling it.
Yeah, we were on the train tracks, and I was like, sacrifice your lives to the great train of righteousness. It was just hilarious. It was ridiculous. So yeah, we went ghost demon hunting, James. You missed out.
Nice. I really did miss out.
But one problem DayZ is still having, they're doing lots of patches, which is awesome, but one issue they're still having is that people can ghost and combat log like crazy, and people are doing that. They rebalanced the spawns so everyone couldn't spawn near Volota, and I'm sure this is thrilling for Steven and Jonah. I know exactly what we're talking about. But they rebalanced all the spawns so people couldn't abuse the spawn system by just spawning at Volota all the time, and a lot of people didn't know that, so people were just going to factories like at Solichny and Nizhnoy and just hurling themselves from the roofs, killing themselves so they could get new spawns. So we walked up and there were like 12 bodies just stretched out in a line, all with no clothes on, just laying face down on the ground. So naturally, starting a cult was the next obvious choice.
Jeremiah, I do have some experience with DayZ, the previous version.
Oh, the mod. Okay.
Yeah, Joel was just like, this is the most awesome game. You just have to be patient with it. It took me like 3 hours just to freaking get into the game, first of all.
That's largely been fixed.
Right. And then I had no weapons, and then I was like crawling around, and then zombies always killed me, and it was just so depressing. So,
well, now let me think. What's changed? You still run around without a weapon for a while. You still die a lot. You crawl. You load into servers really fast. That's been improved. Now it takes like 20 seconds to get in max, so that's pretty much all that's
So
changed.
it takes less time to be depressed.
It
Can
takes
I-
less time.
Can I ask just a brief synopsis of what the point of the game is, just so I'm like,
Okay.
Okay,
The
just
point
a
of the
little.
game is to survive. That's it.
okay,
I mean, and the reason why that's the whole point is like you get hungry, you get thirsty, you
naturally.
you get cold, all that normal stuff. Except you get hungry and thirsty way quicker than in the real world. Like the first day of DayZ, our characters pretty much spent the whole time going around going, "I'm starving." We're like pumping cans of old tuna into them. They're like, "I'm still hungry," and then you eat one rotten kiwi and you're just puking your guts out everywhere. But anyway.
You're just trying to stay alive.
Yeah,
you
you
crap.
can't
at
take
DayZ?
craps yet, but they're probably going to put that in there. You can vomit a lot. And kind of the big hurdle of the game, there's not that many zombies yet. They're working on that. But a lot of players see DayZ as a good opportunity to just let the inner sociopath come out. And rather than like barter and trade with each other, they're just like, "Hi, how are you doing?" And just shoot each other dead on sight. So that's kind of a big problem with the game, but they say they're working on it, so I don't know. Who knows? And Dave says we should just roll on without him because Windows Boot Manager isn't even loading. So he's looking for his Windows repair disk, and he may or may not be back later. So I think we're just going to skip the rest of the DayZ talk. We might circle back around to it. Let me, real quick, before we move on to the movie, let me double-check my schedule. Let me double-check my schedule and make sure we have anything else going on. Okay, Iceman Garage in chat says, this is an epic fail for the beginning of 2014. I don't appreciate that. Okay, we're trying really hard. No, it's all Dave's fault. Blame him and his never-stopping urge to upgrade everything. But yeah, this actually, he was going to be talking tonight how we've been doing this for over a year and how wonderful that is, but this obviously isn't a really good endorsement of how well things are going. Windows Boot Manager crapped out, trying to find my disk. Okay, thanks for the update. So anyway, we're just going to move on to talk about the movie now. Now, we give Joel a lot of crap on the podcast, and we tease him and make fun of him, and he and I go at each other about Macs and consoles and stuff.
You
on a pretty
and
regular
Dave
basis.
are like monkeys flinging poo at me. Like that's how I feel.
Okay, that's maybe you might be exalting
Pig
yourself
rolls
around
in
in it.
there because you are above anything like that.
I know.
But
At least it's entertaining.
despite the fact that he looks really young, and the fact that, like on the podcast at least, he has no discernible skills, Joel is he's actually a really talented filmmaker. And he's been working on this project for like 2 years, and I'm not going to spoil the rest because we're going to get into that. He's been working on this project for like 2 years, and that's why the other guys are on the podcast tonight to talk about it. And we are going to just go ahead and get into that. So, Joel, did you want to start out with the trailer?
I was thinking that might be a good idea so people still want to listen to this thing, because it might be boring if you're expecting games and then you're like, dang it, Joel's going to talk about his effing movie again.
That makes sense. Okay, so Joel, why don't you give us a quick intro to what we're about to watch? And guys, you should see this pop up in the stream. You should be able to watch the video. If you can't, sorry, and I'll patch it in later on the final video cut.
Yeah,
All right, Joel, go for it.
So what you're about to see, hopefully if it works, is the trailer and the Kickstarter video. I'm going to be launching a Kickstarter campaign for my film this coming Tuesday. So it's time's a ticking. So we've been working really, really hard on it. An awesome friend of mine has done the visual effects on it. My brother, Jonah here, who's on the podcast, has been doing all the sound effects for it. And Stephen Burge is the main character in the film. He plays a time traveler who is stuck in the past and is desperately trying to find a way to get back home to the future. So yeah, this has been
Wait,
a
that's
project.
the best synopsis of the movie I've ever heard. I was
Really?
with you for like 3 days helping you film it, trying to figure out what the movie's about, and you could have just said that.
Yeah.
No, I was like, no, okay, but he's in like the ultra portal time, and then he goes like 2 years, but then he goes 3 days forward.
Jeremiah, I'm with you because with the information I just received, I think I want to redo some stuff.
You're like, I think my motivation was wrong. I didn't realize I wanted to go back.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay, all right, Joel.
He's had a little help along the way.
Yeah.
Let's
quite a
watch
lot
this
of
thing.
help.
Let's watch this thing.
Okay. Do I need to play it or you got it?
I think you need to start playing it, and as soon as we start playing it, all our mics are muted. So, yeah, we'll talk about it afterwards.
All right. Well, here we go. Sit back. Hey, is there someone playing music in the background? I hear music. Steve, is that you?
I'm not playing music.
Oh, I hear like screaming or
Does
something.
anyone have a party or children going on in the background?
Eric.
Oh, it's the TV.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
That's
Okay.
all right.
All right. Well, here we go. I'm gonna make sure to turn the volume up on this thing. Ready, guys?
Yep.
Go.
Norman, if you're watching this, then you already know. Don't do it. Every time you step through that doorway, something changes. Those people were real, and now their lives are ruined because of you. I know you didn't want any of this to happen, but it did, and what's done is done. There is nothing out there for you. Never has been and never will be. This is not your time. I know you can't change what you've done, but you can prevent more from happening. Find a way. Rebuild it. Do whatever it takes. You have to get back. Don't let your past mistakes ruin the future. You can still make the right choice.
Hi, my name is Joel Gelzo. I'm the writer, director, and cinematographer of this film called Norman.
Action!
This project started 2.5 years ago, and I'm this close to finishing it. And what I mean by finishing it is all the editing, all of the sound effects, the voiceovers, the narration, the design, the graphic design, all that is being able to be taken care of by either myself, my brother, friends of mine that have pitched in to help. I couldn't have done it without them. Like this, and then you're just the right position. The last thing remaining for this film to just completely come together and to actually work is my biggest problem. I decided to take a huge risk by creating one of the main characters of the entire film a device, a tablet. It is an artificial intelligence that can talk, it has a voice, it'll have a face. To be able to make it work, I need someone who is really good at what they do to be able to bring this character device, to be able to add something to this screen.
Recording. Action! Don't be as close to
It's an incredible journey to work on a project for over 2.5 years and know that there's still 6 to 8 more months working on it. It's tiresome and it takes a lot of patience.
Action!
My friend Stephen Burge, who's the main character of Norman, he lived only about 1.5 miles away from the actual set we were using, which was my friend's house. And I had asked him, can I keep some of my time machine related equipment in your basement? And he's like, sure. And I thought we might be able to get this done in about 3 to 4 weeks worth of shooting. And he said, okay. But what he didn't realize is the 3 to 4 weeks of shooting were actually going to be spread across about 1.5 years, because we would shoot 1 to 2 times about a month because of schedules, because people were in school, people were finishing up projects of their own, and he graciously let me use his basement for over a year and a half, and he almost killed me by the end.
Do you remember doing this? It was just like yesterday, right? we should set up the time machine just for old time's sake, you know?
I wish I had $1 million to be able to pay all the people that have helped me throughout this entire process, because it's been incredible. They've pitched in at every turn, and this final step to be able to bring the film full circle, to be able to add the effects, to make it happen, this is why I'm here. So I appreciate any kind of help you can give me, and I just appreciate your time watching this. And if you know anybody else that likes film stuff, if you don't want to donate, but you know other people that are really into film, send it to them. I really appreciate it, and hopefully in the next 6 to 8 months, you'll be seeing the film Norman complete, with effects, not just a blank piece of glass. So thank you for your time.
Dave, welcome back to the podcast. Before
Thank
we
you.
continue talking about the film, why don't you just give us an update on what's going on with you?
For once, I agree with Joel. Screw you, Microsoft.
What happened?
I'm working on adding a second graphics card. I believe I put it in the wrong slot. Didn't have time before the podcast to correct that. But because I had added a second graphics card and moved which slot my USB hub was in, my computer locked up, and when I restarted, my boot manager had locked, and Windows refused to boot until I inserted the Windows 8 disk. Finally found the disk on the shelf after like 15 minutes of searching, put the disk in, booted just fine.
Awesome.
No actual hardware problem, just that Windows locked my computer because there'd been a hardware change.
Oh, is this some stupid security feature that Windows 8 added?
No, I've seen it before. It's the Windows boot manager. Sometimes it locks up when you make changes.
Huh. Well,
Yep.
okay. Steven, can you hear us now, or can you still not hear us?
I can hear.
Okay, well, you said something you couldn't hear us in chat. I didn't
Yeah,
notice.
I mean the video was playing for me,
The
but
video.
I just couldn't hear
Okay.
hear the sound in it, so it's all good.
Okay. All right, yeah, I'll definitely have to do some editing of this one. Dave, you don't need to be recording your mic feed if you didn't know that.
No, I did not know that.
Okay, don't bother.
Oh no, this is one of those nights, huh?
No, it's not nearly that bad. Okay, Dave, we'll circle back around to the stuff you wanted to talk about later, but for
That's
now,
cool.
we are trying to dive full into Norman, technical issues notwithstanding. So, Joel,
Who's messing with the microphone still? Like it's like constant.
I don't hear anyone messing with the microphone, but Joel's video is locked up.
Yeah.
Joel here. Joel's not here. All right,
He's having internet issues.
James, why don't you tell us about the film Norman? What is your role in the film?
Well, I helped Joel do some rewriting of the film.
You fixed all
Awesome.
the stupid stuff he did?
That's pretty much. Don't let him know that I did that for when he gets back, though. I also got to spend a weekend with them filming, which you also got to be a part of, which was kind of cool. We did a few scenes with the actual science lab and
Well,
the
actual
junkyard
science
scene.
lab. The actual fake science lab.
The actual fake science lab.
Real fake science.
The actual set.
Okay, so how would you describe this film, Norman? Because the trailer doesn't actually tell you a ton of what the movie's about. The trailer probably just makes you more confused in a good way, though. Like, it looks... anyone I've showed it to, and I've only showed it to a couple people, don't kill me, Joel, but anyone I've showed it to has been really intrigued and interested to learn more, and they say it looks really awesome, knowing nothing about the movie. But they watch the trailer, and they still know nothing about the movie. So, James, how would you describe the movie? What is it?
Well, it's a guy who you'll find out a lot of it in the film, but he loses his parents, so he decides that he has nothing to lose, so he starts inventing this time machine, and he kind of randomly just picks a time to go back to, and he goes back and tries to enjoy the time period, and ends up messing things up and becomes kind of a hermit, and he's got this this friendship, I guess, with the computer device that he time traveled with, and that's the only real interaction he's having with people until someone else comes into his life, and he tries to get back to the future, and it's a ride from there.
Sweet.
And I'm back.
Hey,
You know, it's
Joel.
funny. I've been helping Joel on and off with this for quite a while now. Not a ton of help, mainly on some prop designs and stuff like that. But I still don't know the whole plot of the movie yet.
It's not just you. It's
Yeah. Well,
Steven, do you know the whole plot of the movie?
I'm gonna say yes.
Steven plays Norman.
I kind of want to keep it that way though.
I mean, honestly, I'm very excited to see it because I've read most of the script and stuff, and I'm really just interested to see how Joel pulls it all off. Because everything I've seen, like when Joel said he was working on a movie, I'll be honest, my initial first impression was like, oh, that's cool. Not bad, but just Joel is an aspiring filmmaker and likes working on stuff. Great, good for him.
Yeah.
Then he sent me a couple of clips of it. I was like, oh, this actually looks really good. Because it was the first time I'd seen any of your stuff. I'd never seen any of your work until I saw these clips of the movie. So I was like, oh, well, that all looks really good. And so everything I saw from then on, actually, you can even tell, even over the course of the movie, you improved significantly, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
not to leave everyone out dry who wasn't able to see it. I'm gonna send out a link. It's to a password one, so it's
Well, no, Joel, you don't have to do
It'll
that.
be edited in anyway.
Joel, I'm gonna
What?
pull the live one. I'm gonna pull.
No, I know, but they're watching right now. I figure
Okay.
they can watch it. We'll keep continuing, talking, but I don't want to leave them out in the dark.
Okay.
so.
Okay.
Here,
Yeah.
I'll send this to you right here.
You got to post it in a comment on the on my actual channel.
Do you want to just? Can you post that? I'll let you post that.
Also,
in the
Why
chat.
don't,
I got it.
why don't I just post the one that doesn't have a password on it, like the YouTube link?
Nah, because I kind of don't want. I mean, I'm gonna probably delete it right after this. So.
Oh, and you can't download Vimeo videos without permission.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
While you were gone, Jeremiah asked me what the film was about, and I told him it was pretty much Back to the Future without all the cool music.
So, Joel, would you like a rebuttal for that?
No, that was pretty. That was right on the nose. No, I'm just kidding. What was the
Question was
No,
just give us the 2-minute version of Norman, or the 1-minute version, or the 30-second version. Why should people care about this thing you're making?
Okay, this story is about a character who thinks he's going to go on an amazing adventure, and it came from just childhood memories and various things, just growing up, and it's about like. Sometimes as you go through life, it's like
memories. You have memories of time traveling when you were
I do.
I had memories of 80 years before I was born.
No, this came about from the idea of when I was a kid, or even just now, still just wanting to go on an adventure. There always seems to be, I could probably sum this up like easy for Dave, like looting. There's always something better around the corner, right? And so the idea of this is that it's about the scientist that dives extremely deeply into his work, and that's all he has. His parents had died. He has no significant family, and he pours himself into his work, and that's all that he likes. He does not stay close to people. He doesn't make a lot of friends. His work is his friend, and he's just obsessed with time travel. He wants to get out of the area he lives in. So it's I don't know if you ever had that kind of experience where you just feel like you don't belong in this time. Not necessarily like I shouldn't live now. It's more of like just like, what am I here? What am I doing here on Earth? But this character just is seeking something else, something better, and he goes through time and he ends up in the past, and he thinks it's going to be a grand adventure. This is going to be awesome, the best thing ever. Except no one knows about this. No one knows this awesome work he's done. I mean, it's something that he's the only person to go back in time. No one else can witness it. It's like achieving something. It's running a race or running a mile 2 minutes, super fast, the best anyone's ever done, but no one was there to see it. You're the only one to experience it. So he becomes depressed, and then he starts messing around with things in the past, and he realizes, oh my gosh, I am screwing things up. He causes someone to die by accident. And because of that, he decides, I do not belong here. I don't know why I came here. And so he decides to hole up in this house. And he orders everything online. Everything comes from food to packages to you name it. And the device he has, Annie, this like kind of high-tech iPad tablet device he brought with him in the past, is his only friend. So it's just Norman and Annie living in this house, and they never go outside because he is now terrified of wondering, anything I do outside, I could screw something up.
And then it turns into a romantic comedy.
Featuring Joel and Steven.
Actually, that movie's coming out soon. It's called, what's it called? Her?
Her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry
Yeah.
for
I'm gonna make sure to release mine right as that comes out.
No, so it just becomes this story of Norman trying to get back to where he belongs, or he feels he belongs. But on the way, as he's going through this adventure and his travels, he meets this girl, Jenny, and things kind of change. And now the past is starting to corrupt and change, and he knows he needs to get back faster. But he's also very conflicted because he's like, I'm now starting to begin to like being here with this girl, and there might be a chance, but he knows he needs to leave, so he's got a lot of conflict and everything. So that's kind of what the film is about. And gosh, I had this idea like 8 years ago, and just the beginning of it, and it's changed a lot. It's changed a lot in the last 6 months. But it's cool seeing it pretty much done, and we have most of it edited. We have all of it shot, so the entire film is shot, and it's in a timeline, and I'm editing right now. And my brother Jonah, who's here, is going to be doing all the sound design, and he works in California, and he's done films like Fast and Furious. He's done sound effects on that for the cars. And Jonah, what's the other film you're working on? The Lone Survivor?
No. I mean, I've worked on quite a few films out there, recording a lot of like all the really cool muscle cars for Fast and Furious 7 up in Colorado, and designed the servo sounds for the new RoboCop. So you'll hear that in that movie. Worked with the writer of Lost, Damon Lindelof, and Peter Berg, director of Lone Survivor, Battleship, that kind of thing, on an HBO pilot called Leftovers, which just got greenlit by HBO. So that's cool. So yeah, quite a few fun projects. But yeah, Norman will definitely be a challenge as well, especially trying to find free time to be able to get it all done. Joel obviously didn't have a big budget, so he wasn't able to get a location sound mixer, so we have to dub over all the lines. So it's going to be one or many long nights with Steven, so I'll probably hate him after that experience.
This will be a romantic comedy. Just two of them in a room and a microphone.
Yeah.
Hey, Joel, real quick, the password that Dave handed out is not correct. Is that correct?
The one I just sent should be correct.
Okay, the
That's already
password
nice.
for the trailer that Dave posted is Norman.
We are totally on the ball tonight.
Capital N, Norman. So definitely
Yep.
look at the link in the comments here and watch it if you haven't seen the trailer yet.
Just letting you guys know that this trailer is going out Tuesday, but you're seeing a pre-release, so feel special.
Very special. Yeah.
I feel so special right now.
So Joel, when you were looking to pick your title character, Norman, what were you looking for in the actor that you would choose to inhabit the soul of this world-weary time traveler?
Anyone that could work for free.
No, Steven, Joel's number one choice. How's it going?
Some amateur who didn't know what the hell he was doing and could
Steven,
work for free.
Tell us a little bit about you, like your acting, anything about you that people might be interested to know. How did you come to be involved in this?
It was through work. So I was working in the IT department, not directly with Joel. So he was working on different projects, but I was on the project management side of things, and I did theater on the side. So I was like in shows at the university that we were working for, and in that process, a few people had seen some of the shows that I was in. And specifically Benjamin Manley, he approached me and he was like, hey, my buddy Joel's working on a film and he's looking maybe for some extras. That might seem like something you were interested in or you'd be interested in. And I was like, yeah, it sounds good. Let him know I'd be willing to do anything, even if it was just like juggle in the background or something.
I have something to confess about that.
Which he does in scene 42A. No.
Yeah.
I just remembered something funny. Ben asked if you would be interested in extras because he came back and he was like, I have no idea if Steven can act. He just said he could act. So he's like, I just asked if you wanted to be an extra. That way, like, he's like, I didn't want to be like, hey, do you want to be the main actor? And be like, crap, I'm stuck, you know? Like, and then I'm like, sorry, we don't need you.
Yeah. Well, I thought that's funny because I thought he had gone to one of the shows, so maybe he was basing that statement off of seeing me on stage. I have no idea if Steven can act or not.
I think he
You're just a beautiful face.
I think he heard from someone else that you had done some acting, or was doing some theater.
So he hadn't seen me. He didn't know. All right.
So from the very beginning, this project was set up for success.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I got a great story about how I first saw Steven in his role in Norman. My actual first day on set. Do you remember this, Joel?
No, I don't.
I knew Steven from work as well, but quite a few months into the filming, Joel asked me to stop by on like a rainy day one day and just take some behind-the-scenes photos. And a lot of the film takes place at Steven remembers this now.
Yeah.
A lot of this takes place at a coworker's house. So I show up at the house and I come in the front door, and they're right there in this nice like formal entrance room in this coworker's house. And I'm trying to like be quiet because they're already filming. Joel's got his camera rolling, and Steven is sitting at this table. And it takes me a second to realize, like, he's like bent over this chessboard. He's like playing chess with one of the other characters' things in the movie. And then I realized that he's completely shirtless, but not quite. He's shirtless, but with suspenders and pants, like the suspenders. And so I think it's kind of weird, but like Joel's just doing his directing thing, and they're filming, and they're doing the chess moves. And so
I forgot about this.
I'm standing there just inside the door, holding all my camera stuff, and I'm like, all right. Like I pull my camera out, I start like snapping photos of the filming. And finally, it took about a minute and a half before. Finally, Joel just like lost it and just started cracking up, and I was like, okay, there it is.
I forgot. I told Steven, I was like, dude, take your shirt off. Let's see if. I bet Dave will just be like, what the heck's going on? But he probably won't say anything. He'll be like, all right, I guess the shooting's shot.
Sorry, Dave. The name of this movie is actually Magic Norman.
I do remember that.
That's how I first stumbled onto the set of Joel's totally professional film.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
No, but honestly, getting to meet Steve Norman, it was pretty awesome because he seemed really excited about working on the project. And I honestly was like, I don't know if he is good at acting. Because there's a lot of people that always say, like, oh, I'm a theater actor, I can act and everything. And, I mean, some good friends, and no offense or anything, but I'm like, it would suck to, like, you say, yeah, oh yeah, totally, you know, work on a project, and then 3 days you're like, oh, it's not working. How do you just go, dude, I appreciate it, but it sucks to lose 3 whole days of shooting to find out, he can't act.
How do you tell somebody too, like, hey,
yeah,
I appreciate your 3 days of free work, but
Well,
you're
typically
pretty bad.
people have tryouts, but when you're willing to take literally the first person who says yes,
well,
you
that
kind of-
actually wasn't true. I actually asked a few other people, and no one was able to either just commit to more than a few times. No one was really interested. Like, nah, I don't really want to work on a project. So I honestly couldn't find anyone.
I was like, yeah, I'm bored out of my mind. I'll help.
He was like, he's like, dude, I have nothing to do. I was like, okay, that works.
Steven saying like, hey, I'll juggle in the background. Joel's like, cool,
Yeah.
cool. While you're juggling, what if you just said a few lines, and then what if you set the balls down, and maybe just hang around for a couple years? How does that
That's kind of what
sound?
happened, yeah.
So now, Joel, a movie, you know, average movie's like 2 hours long, so you can film one of these in like what, a weekend?
What? Oh yeah. Just a weekend.
Sorry, I just wanted to lob that one to you. How long have you been working on this?
I started writing the script December 2011, and we started shooting the project on I think March or April of 2012, and we finished shooting on November 2013.
And consequently finished writing the script at the same time.
There were some changes while filming that day.
Yeah. But I mean, we didn't shoot. That's not shooting every single day. But we were also not working with a budget that says, "Oh, I'm going to pay you $30,000. Take off work for 3 months. We're going to film it." It was we're filming this thing around people's schedules, around people's other projects, around school, around all that. And for me, trying to go, okay, I can't film this weekend because I need to save another $400 to buy some more space crap, more
Space crap.
time travel stuff. Yeah, because I was funding it myself, and it was just and then some days there was some days where Jason, the house we filmed at, he literally he was like, screw you, and I was like, he went over to his parents' house, and I thought he was going to be there. He said he was, and he totally forgot. He's like, I went to my parents this weekend, so we're like, well, I guess we're not filming. So
Joel,
it was
have
a lot
you
of
described
variables.
your Amazon package delivery stuff yet? I'm not sure if I missed that part. I love that story.
What, I don't. What was the story?
Just the
Oh.
random crap that you would get from Amazon for props, like just the variety of stuff. Like your postal guy has got to be so weirded out.
Yeah, I was like, I had
The
like
NSA's
all
been
these
following Joel for a while.
pipes, PVC, gas masks, various like airsoft pistols, like
all sounds legit.
warning tapes, blood, all, like just crazy stuff.
Fake blood. There was fake blood. You can't just buy blood.
Yeah, fake blood.
It's Amazon Mexico.
It was low budget. We just stabbed Steven a little bit.
Just to give you guys an idea, at one point a few months ago, I went over to Joel's apartment to watch an episode of Walking Dead with him, and I swear his apartment looked like a set from Breaking Bad, like tarps and stuff everywhere, like spotlights. I'm like, hey Joel, you're working on that movie, right? Right.
So you've been working on it for like 2 years at this point.
Yeah.
And that's largely been because you are the crew. Like, you've had other people help you, but
Yeah,
it's really been mostly you and Steven, right?
Yeah, just a shout out for the dedicated crew. It's been me. It's been Steven. I mean, Steven kept all of his clothes, his costume. He took care of that. He would literally keep it in his car, the back of his Jeep. So anytime we'd film, he would open a box and be like, all right, I'm wearing time travel suit 1. I'm wearing Norman suit number 2. And we'd work from there. And then another delay. You'd never think this is a big problem. The biggest hurdle in the film, other than the visual effects that I need funding for, is Steven would, if he shaved, like, because we'd have to wait for the growth to come back, because it's like continuity, but like one shot, be like clean shave, the next just like poof, a beard. So like something,
It's the time traveling. It affects your beard growth.
Yeah, and it was funny. Steve was looking for a job, and he weren't you gonna possibly get a waiter job, like work at a restaurant? And he was like, what am I gonna do? Because you can't just like have a beard, like, you know, being a waiter. Like, you gotta look nice and everything. I was like,
Hey, screw you, Joe.
Dave, your beard is
Dave,
very
you do not
neatly
look
trimmed.
nice.
It's very neatly trimmed.
that's not what I mean.
Jerk.
Actually, that's exactly what I mean. No, but like, okay, so like, what do I do? Like, After Effects, like, stubble back on?
No, oh no, please no.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I'm saying that's the kind of thing. Like, I couldn't pay him to be like, well, you need a job, you need money. So it's crazy how things work out when you're just doing an independent film, but it's worked out so far.
Yeah.
So that guy Jason, you mentioned you were filming at his house. How long were you at his house filming, and why were you filming at his house? Why his house? What was special about it?
He made the fateful choice. Fateful. He regrets this to the very day. I went over to his house. He invited me over for dinner one time, for me and my wife to come over for dinner. And I'm like walking around their house, and Joy and Picor, they're sitting there eating dinner. I went to use the bathroom, and I'm walking around, I'm like, this is a sweet house. And they were like, I came back like 5-10 minutes later, like, what are you doing in the bathroom? I'm like looking around, I'm like, I could film this here, because his basement is incredible. It's very like knick-knacky. It's an old style house.
Knick-knacky, it's a nice way of saying serial killery. There's a shower in the basement that's like open into the rest of the basement. It looks like something you should just be standing in with like your hand against the wall, reading the book.
Pedophile approved.
What?
What'd you say, Jonah?
Pedophile approved.
Oh, yeah, exactly. There's lots of like low-hanging pipes and things. It's a house
being
made for
like a
people who are
midget
5.5 feet tall.
Well,
It's-
Joel
it's-
didn't have something
Which
to
is
do
perfect
with.
for Steve.
Yeah, I hit my head on so many things in the house. But Joel, didn't you say it had something to do with you were like washing your hands and something crazy happened in the bathroom?
No, well that.
Wait, what?
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. This is just.
Sorry, I did that on purpose, but
I'm gonna click it onto Jeremiah's face so I don't see James laughing at me.
You'll know in your heart.
This entire story, the absolute base of this story came about like almost I think 8 8 years ago. 8 years from now. 8 years ago.
Time
traveler.
No, it came along 8 years ago, even before I did a film that I did before this. And I was at a friend's house, and I was using the bathroom, and his sink, I left it on by accident just a little bit, and for some reason it starts doing this water pinging thing in his house, in the pipes, and it started vibrating so loud and so much that the walls were literally just like shaking. And I was like, what the crap did I do?
I think he needs to call a plumber.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound normal.
Well, I looked it up, and I found out what it was. It was this like harmonization of like this pinging sound.
Yeah,
that
but the
caused,
walls aren't
yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
the water in the bathroom.
Anyways, it was a special thing. He said he never had happened before. Of course, it happened to me.
Sure, the house isn't possessed.
But
First time
anyways,
it's happened.
It's somehow now I'm making a film called Norman, and that's one of the main features in the movie. It's just interesting. It's a part of the film. Norman does the same thing, and this happens, and he gets an idea that leads him to help to build a new time travel device.
So, Steven, what made you say yes to being a part of this, knowing that you weren't going to get paid, it was going to take a long time, and you had no idea what it was about?
I'd like to know that too.
And there was no workman's comp.
Yeah. Well, when you first asked me, like well, going back a little further, I did most of my work had been on stage, and so I had done a lot of different shows with the university, and then some like even when I was younger in high school and different things like that, and so I enjoyed it a lot. And I guess like he did explain it enough to where it was intriguing. I was like, okay, yeah, this sounds like it should be fun. I get to dress up in a time suit or whatever, and at least if anything, I could be like, "Hey, Mom, look what I did," and like she would like give me a high five or something. And so I wasn't at the.
Clearly, this is before he read the script.
Yeah, it was. It was after he explained it, but volunteering for it because, well, if I'm honest, I thought, you know, it would be like a few weeks of filming, and so I was like, oh yeah, I can give like a couple weekends to this film, and then I can say like, oh yeah, I had a part in that or whatever. And so initially I wasn't banking on being there for 2 years filming, but the more we got into it, like the more fun I had, like getting to know this character. And I was going to say earlier, I had no thoughts of even being the lead role. I was expecting to be in the background most of the time, but when he said after seeing some of the footage of different projects I had worked on in the past, and then deciding to offer me the lead role, I was like, oh wow, that's awesome, not what I was expecting. And so that kind of got me a little more excited about it as well. And so there were a lot of conversations Joel and I had to have about the character himself, just for me finding like motivation and different things for the scenes that we were shooting. But the more that it went on, like the more I kind of like started really understanding what this character was going through and like wanting to finish this movie and see it through to the end, because I mean, I've got plenty of friends who always start projects and don't end up finishing them for whatever reason, and I just didn't want to be lumped into that category of someone who just, I'm not feeling it. And so it was good that Joel, he just has this dedication. Like he's got this idea in his head. Sometimes it's hard for me to get it out and like and really understand it, but he's got the idea and it drives him, and so that's kind of what inspired me. It gave me encouragement at the same time to like pursue this, to invest into this and not just be like, oh, I don't have any more time to give you or anything like that. So it was a number of different things, but I enjoyed the process completely, and it's because I just love the art of filmmaking, like all aspects. And so being a part of any project like this is just enjoyable to me. It's fun. So it wasn't hard to volunteer at all.
I kind of remember I think there was a time I was actually wondering. I was like, I wonder if Steven's getting really bored, or is like, crap, is this going anywhere? Because I think it was like after maybe like 13 or 14 days of shooting and stuff, and at the start I tried to shoot more of the slower shots, the less intensive, the less emotional, and very little dialogue. Didn't we didn't shoot any dialogue like till like after like day 10 or 12 or something like that. I kept it kind of minimal except for a few little spots. because I kind of wanted to work with Steve to see. I was like, can I get him to say these lines? You know, where he does, he's gonna be able to push. And I think Steven got just so much better after we started, and even towards the end. Like he did an awesome job. But I was kind of scared because I was scared even with Jason. Like this guy's gonna kill me. Like I'm in his basement, and I started giving Jason money for rent.
Well, it is a pedophile approved house.
That's a weird way to phrase it, Joel.
You'd be down there like filming in the basement, and Jason's just standing by the stairs, just watching you.
Jason's behind you, hanging some chains and hooks slowly off of a rafter.
Like you're gonna be down here much longer? Take your time.
I honestly cannot over-explain. If you've never done a project like this, it's really hard to sympathize, honestly. Like, unless you have worked so bare bones from nothing and done so much on your own, and then asking people, please show up here. I don't have money, but please show up. It's going to be cool somehow. Like, just get you here. I'll film it, and then you can hate me later. But, like,
hard to get that buy-in.
It really is hard. I mean, I spent so many nights just with Jason building props, from this time travel suit to helmets to the time machine, the time portal. And he's looking at some of these ideas and drawings, and I'm saying, we can build this time machine out of wood. And he's going, you're freaking crazy. and then the day we got the thing working, and the time portal thing pulled
Not
apart.
actually going back in time.
Yeah,
just
yeah, like
disclaimer. Working, he means lights came on and stuff.
Lights came
the prop
on.
was working.
And I had this idea that it could pull apart with this like string and like cable we had fixed together. And Jason is an extremely smart person, and he's extremely
Not smart enough to say no to you when you want to set up a time machine.
Yeah.
For 2 years.
But he's a perfectionist, and I love that about him. But when I said, hey, can you build me a helmet? I was like, sure. I was like, it just needs to work for the scene. He would make that thing last for a decade. Like, it's going to be an actual real helmet. So, but I told him, I was like, we don't have the time to do it. I don't have the money. So I was like, don't waste your time making it too insanely good, because like I'm shooting 2 scenes, bam, it's done. But for the time machine, this wooden one we wanted to build, for the second time machine that Norman builds in the movie, this crappy one that's all just with cables and wires, and it just looks like the thing's going to break apart. That was my plan. But Jason's like, dude, this is never going to work. Like, this is like, okay, whatever, like, you're crazy. We had to purchase lead bricks to hold it down.
That sounds safe.
Where do you buy lead bricks?
Amazon.
Free Prime shipping?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yay, lead poisoning.
No, but I can't tell you the absolute relief I had when we tested it, when it was just me and I think it was Steven. Steven, you might have been there.
Yeah.
We tested it, and it actually pulled apart. I was trying not to cry, because I was like, I've had this idea for like 2.5 years, and I'm like, really? It actually worked. Like, I was just like flooded with emotion. I'm like, yes, it did. Like, I'm not a moron. And then we started filming, and I was like, okay, I'm a moron.
So,
But
you had James helping you with script stuff. You had Steven, of course, he was kind of busy as your main actor. You had Jason standing by crying while you took his house up, and sometimes helping with props when you paid him off. Who else was on your crew? There was a Ben guy you mentioned.
Yep.
Who was Ben? What did he do?
My best friend Ben Manley, he helped me a lot with the script stuff back when we first initially started. He helped me several days through production as well. But James and Ben have been kind of like my go-to people for pitching ideas. Like, what about this? What about this? In the story. What if I changed to this? Because after we worked on the project for over a year, and when you have that amount of time, and I'm looking at it and editing all of the story, I started realizing, okay, there's a few little holes that I didn't think about, just because it's like you write it the first time. Like, now I don't proclaim to anyone that I'm a great writer. I've never said that to anyone. I know that, but it's hard to find people to say, hey, can you write a script for me? Because they're really long, they take a lot of time, and they got to be there throughout the whole production, because you will change bits and pieces. So I did it myself. But yeah, I went with, Ben and James helped a huge amount to help the last probably 3 months before Steven came back, and we shot this junkyard battle scene and a whole bunch of science lab stuff. We really nailed and finished the whole story, and I'm like really excited about it. Like, it's way better than I thought it was gonna be. And so It was a huge help. And it was them, and then my wife, she helped out a lot with food stuff. I kept her in the kitchen. I'm just kidding. No.
It may surprise some of you to hear that Joel actually is married, given some of the things he says. He's happened to found somebody who finds his particular.
She obviously doesn't watch the podcast.
Yeah, she's been on the podcast.
There's no basement chains involved or anything. Despite spending so much time at.
If anyone wants to know what love is, when Joy was on the podcast with you, you were saying some like horrible thing about something. Looking at you and laughing, you can just tell by her face, she thinks you're adorable. And that's the blinders of love, because that's the only way. But no, Joy killed it on food.
Yeah, she was huge help.
Always tons of snacks.
I had my older brother who flies quadcopters and tricopters and stuff, and he helped out a huge amount for a couple of the scenes that we needed. There's so many people, like Jonah's girlfriend helped out on a couple nights. Dave helped out.
Did Jeremiah help out?
Yeah, Jeremiah helped out. Yeah.
Well, I was only there for a couple days near the end.
Dude, no, that was a huge help. That was 4 days. That was 4 days.
A pretty big scene. That was a
huge amount of work.
How many people were there for that scene?
I'd say probably 20.
Yeah, it was way
Joel had a really big weekend set up near the end of the film, and the reason, like, he asked if I wanted to come down and help. I was like, sure. Honestly, kind of the similar thing to what Steven said earlier. The reason I was like, yeah, I'll come do this, because I saw a couple of the clips. And I was like, oh, this looks pretty good. But also, you were really passionate about it. So I figured, well, I've seen the stuff some of the stuff you've done now, and it's pretty good. So if you say it's going to be good, like, heck, might as well. And it definitely wasn't because I understood like what was going on, because I did not. Pretty much the entire weekend, Joel's like, now Norman's going to walk down a hallway. Now Norman's running through the woods. And I'm just like, okay, Norman's running through the woods. I have no idea why, but let's do it.
It was. You guys did an awesome job, because I mean, like, the script as it was right there. If I had shown it to you, you probably would have been more confused, because a lot of the script that we had updated wasn't in there yet. It was a lot of on just notes and stuff. So there was no way to be like, dude, just screw it, trust me with this, and it's gonna be good.
Hey, welcome to the podcast, Kmack. Hey, Kmack. How's it going?
I think his mic's. Oh, there we go.
Good.
What's up, man?
You don't need to be recording if you didn't know. I don't know if I sent you a message or not. We had so many technical issues getting the podcast started that I'm just going to pull the Google feed, and that'll be all. Cool. Yeah, but we were actually talking about Joel. Joel, wave your hand. I think he was on the podcast last time you were on.
He was.
Yeah. He's actually making this movie called Norman, and so tonight on the podcast he has with us. We have Steven. Steven, wave your hand. Who is the main actor in the movie, and then we have Jonah, who's Joel's brother, who's doing the sound design for the movie. If you look in the chat, you should be able to see a link to the trailer, and it has a password. So if you want to go ahead and watch the trailer and just get caught up, we're just talking about stuff on set and stuff.
All right, cool.
All right, cool. So yeah, Joel, near the end, you had like this 4-day weekend set up where you had a couple big set pieces. You had a science lab, and you had this battle scene in a junkyard, and that's when you got like, for most of the movie, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was mostly just a couple people at a time filming. But for this is the first time when you needed like a bunch of people together for a couple hours at a time to film something really big. Is that correct?
Is Joel frozen?
I think Joel is frozen.
He's frozen,
Dave,
but what happened with that
can you send Kyle? Hold on real quick. I'm sorry, 1 second, Steven.
Yeah.
Dave, can you redrop the link to the video and the password in the chat for Kyle? Okay, cool. Sorry, Steven, go ahead.
Yeah, so speaking for Joel a little bit, part of the reason for that one lumped weekend of so much going on was I had, like right near the end of the film, I had moved because I was offered a position down in Florida. So I moved from Lynchburg, where we had been filming.
Oh, you just gave away where we went to school. We've been teasing it for a while.
Oh, no. And so I had moved, and so in order to finish the remaining scenes, I had to fly back up, and he had to orchestrate this entire weekend of four days of just nothing but filming. And so I gave him a few months' notice in advance of when I would be up there, and so we planned it out to where he could, just have like he planned each day out. And so before I came up, he sent me a folder with just the scenes that we would be doing each day, and that took so much planning on his part because. I mean, obviously everyone has different schedules, but we had to finish everything that had to be done in the few days that I was up there before I flew back down to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I think it worked out well though because
it went really well.
That period of you being gone, there were so many changes that were made.
Yeah.
So when you actually came back to film those scenes, they were a lot more coherent.
Yeah.
And, it kind of really changed the outcome of the movie, like what the ultimate ending was going to be.
And Joel, so you had this big junkyard battle scene, which you only see one or two very short clips of in the trailer. But was that the most complex thing you filmed to date?
I think it was the most involved.
I mean, it was like 20 people, and during the scene, there was like nine or 10 people involved in the scene. The whole scene lasts maybe 2 minutes tops.
No, actually, the battle scene will probably be, I think, 6 or 7 minutes.
6 or 7 minutes, but it was 8 hours of filming.
Yep.
And it was
cold.
Well, it wasn't that bad. Logistically, it was crazy because we had to keep track of where everyone was supposed to be at any given point. Okay, when so and so's getting shot, what's so and so doing? Okay, because we have to do something with them. And Joel pretty much spent the entire 8 hours just running from place to place, filming little scenes. We would set up, a quick shot of someone getting shot by something or getting hit or moving, and Joel would just run over, all right, what's over here? And we'd tell him, he's like, okay, let's do it, and he would just bust through it. So Joel was definitely running like a crazy man all night long, which is pretty impressive to watch.
Did I look kind of crazy?
You looked
the crazy guys.
You had a little bit of the deer in the headlights. Looked like we just gotta do it. But I mean, it was really awesome. I was really happy to come be a part of it. It was just a ton of fun.
It was pretty adrenaline. It was 40 degrees outside, but didn't need a coat or anything because the adrenaline was going the whole time.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I didn't feel cold at all. I had a little small tiny ripped jacket. That's all I had.
I just dropped in chat. Joel just sent me a link. I do have a very, very brief cameo in the movie. Or bit part or whatever you want to call it. So there's a picture, just a little teaser there. Lots of teasers. Joel's doing a lot of teasers for this thing.
Well, most of the reason why it's mostly teasers because all the audio that we need to have for Steven, we got to re-record it all. So all the shots that have him saying things in the film, I can't use it in the trailer because it would just come from camera mic audio and it sounds like crap. So so I had to come up with a trailer that just shows all the other scenes.
So no dialogue, just action.
So now, Joel, so you finished filming. So why are you putting out a Kickstarter now? You finished principal photography. What's the deal? Why do you need money?
I have personally put in $12,000 of my own money for this project throughout the 2 years. It's honestly not that much when you look at how much I have bought. I mean, I have a freaking a box of airsoft guns in my house right now. So the spacesuit alone was $1,200 because the helmet was a custom it's used in really high end facilities where you got to make sure the dust doesn't get in and you have a whole respirator system and stuff. I tried to find things that would look unique. You wouldn't see it immediately and go, oh, I know what that is. That's the mask that everyone wears on Halloween or something like that. It needed to be somewhat unique. So I bought that, and then my friend Jason, we built this backpack that actually has a little pipe that goes to the back of the helmet and actually pumps a little bit of air so it's not just hot and stale in there. But it didn't work so well when we were doing the battle scenes because it
was hot and stale.
But for some of the stuff indoors when he's not running around, it actually worked pretty well. I kept the fog down a little bit, but it definitely didn't work that well anywhere else.
They also conveniently put a little bit of marijuana in the back, so that kind of piped through and allowed Steven to chill out.
It had working switches, and it actually had a little CPU fan in it that pumped the air, and the lights worked, and it was incredible. I mean, we painted the thing, and we put the little stickers on for the icons and the name, and it was just fun. It's really cool. I still have it in my house, and it's ripped to shreds because Steven went through hell for this picture. And I have a little clip that we can send the link out to everyone. Here, I'll send it. That I put together. I thought would be kind of appropriate, and something Steven might laugh at.
I need to watch this.
Is there? How can we? If you want to cue that video up again,
I'm just gonna share it. I'm just gonna share it in chat because since everyone else can't.
No,
see
I
the
mean
video.
share it with chat, and then we'll watch it all together.
Okay.
Cue it up, guys.
Cue it up, Joel.
Okay.
Kyle, you should see like a YouTube window pop open or something.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay,
do we
cool. I
s-
don't know how Google Hangouts is working or not working right now.
Speaking of Google Hangouts, we've
do
had
we
this
see
problem
this?
before. Apparently, YouTube updated today. They always update on Thursdays. A bunch of UI changes and backend stuff, and that appears to be affecting Google Hangouts
Why?
as well.
Why? Okay, so what are we
Yep.
about to watch here,
Are you
Joel?
guys ready? Yeah. This just shows a few of the stunts that Steven did himself that we put him through. It's kind of funny.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Are we going?
Action. Action.
They were actually really hurling them out of that truck.
Right.
Wait, where's the mountain scene? I haven't seen any of this.
Oh, this is deleted scene.
That looks really dangerous.
I'll be fine.
There's the pedophile basement.
I like that one. In this scene, I just want you to throw yourself down the sand dune. All right.
Looks like a lot of fun, actually.
It was like 5 or 6 of those.
Now, Joel, did you catch all the vomiting afterwards?
I like how there's plastic laying on the floor just in case his head bursts open.
Gotta protect the carpet. Oh, I heard that. Oh.
This looks so cheesy from this angle. I want to see it in the movie.
Yeah, well, behind the scenes rarely looks very good. Like, usually it's kind of funny. You see behind the scenes, it's shot at 30 frames per second. It's not framed well. It's not lit or anything. Behind the scenes, if anything, makes it look like, oh, that looks
I know.
horrible.
Yeah.
Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings behind the scenes is
But
like
anyway,
really
Joel, we kind
cringeworthy.
of rabbit trailed. So,
Yeah.
why do you need money? Why are you begging for
Okay,
people's money on Kickstarter? Like
Well,
a common harlot.
I've gotten my film as far as it can go that within my abilities that I can do it. I know how to edit. We're going to be recording music and sound and stuff like that. We have all the talents to be able to do that as far as that's concerned. But the thing I cannot do, which is the most important part of my film, is there's a character in it that's just a plate of glass. It's just a glass, and it's the iPad tablet device that he talks to. And I need a character, a face that's put into it. And there's a lot of scenes of that. It's a sci-fi movie. It's a freaking time travel movie. So the portal needs to have effects in it. The computers need to have screens on it. And especially the device. There will be a AI type of, almost think of GLaDOS, but maybe not that crazy, but that kind of voice that's going to be talking to the character throughout the whole film. And there needs to be a face to it. And that's something I personally cannot do. And it's something that would take me an insane long time to learn if I wanted to do this. And I don't want to spend another 3 years working on this project. So I decided, let me see if I can raise a little bit of funds to be able to pay for a visual effects guy. And I have a good friend of mine, but he's got a busy schedule. He works on a lot of projects, and I'd like to be able to make it worth his time. And so I'm trying to be able to raise. Right now, I'm sticking to $7,000. I'm trying to raise $7,000 to finish this film.
Right, and the biggest thing with Adam is he just has overhead.
Yeah.
So it's like he's already like he's gonna do it for at cost, but he has his own studio, all that kind of stuff. So
The preliminary effects I've seen for a few of the short clips in the trailer, they look really good. Like he knows his stuff. It's not like it's going to be some straight to red box, which for me is like the lowest tier straight to DVD stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, it's all that he said he would help me with the trailer and do the effects for it so that we could at least sell. This is what it's trying to look like, and so I'm really hoping that it goes well. It's going to be going for 30 days. It's starting January 7th. And James just sent me a text. Anyways, so it's going to be launching. It's launching January 7th, this coming Tuesday. I'm going to post it live, I think, at like 10:30 a.m. And I ask if you guys like this, if you'd love to donate. I mean, the rewards are kind of be like DVDs, the HD download, all that kind of stuff. If you ever done any Kickstarter events or campaigns, if you know about it, I urge you, please. I mean, it'd be awesome if you guys helped it out. Or if you know friends that love films or are into that kind of stuff, show it to us. See if they could do it. The more it can be shared, the better chance I have of being able to finish it.
So when are you hoping to have it finished by? What's the goal?
My tentative goal is if it goes for 30 days, which printed means is going to end like the first week of February, that means I would love to be able to see the film done by at least November 2014. So that's like, I don't want to go into another year of this thing not done yet. So that is the goal. Now, maybe launching it and showing it, depending, because I mean, I want to do film festivals and stuff, maybe the possibility, but I want it to be done and watchable, and the music and all this stuff.
Nice.
So someone in chat, Golder's Golden Pot, asked in chat a while ago, when the movie's done, where is he going to be able to see it? Blu-ray, DVD, YouTube, theaters?
On Kickstarter, I am offering a Blu-ray. I think I put it at $35 or $45, I can't remember. And you'll get the gift of a Blu-ray and helping us to be able to finish it. So it'll be on that. It'll be on DVD. You can also get it as an HD download. We'll also be giving out the soundtrack. I have an awesome friend who's working on the soundtrack. So the piece that's in the trailer was done.
It's real
so
sweet.
It was by a friend of mine, and I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. So he'll be doing that, and we're going to be recording real violin and real piano and hopefully a cello as well for some scenes. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be incredible, and any help I can get would just be blasted amazing.
All right, well,
just call this Joel whores all his friends and coworkers out for Kickstarter.
So Joel, before we move on from Norman the film, is there anything else you want to say?
Now,
about some shenanigans that went on during the film.
Okay.
Okay.
Other than Steven shirtless.
I'll tell one, and I'll let Steven tell another. But throughout the production, it would mostly be me, Steven, and Jason Pecor working on the project at his house, because some of the scenes we didn't need a whole bunch of lighting kits and stuff. It was just, small scenes. So one day when we had a bunch of people there, I bought a giant 24 box of ice cream sandwiches, and like no one ate them. It was like maybe one eaten. So the following couple days when we were filming just us three and not a whole bunch of people were over there, we're like, all right, we'll have an ice cream sandwich here or there. And Jason, he is a gluten-free person. He's a member of that club. So he couldn't eat any of them. So every once in a while, we'd be like, hey, you guys hungry? You just want maybe a little ice cream sandwich or something like that? He'd pull it out. We're like, all right, we ate them. Well, it came down to the last one. And me and Steve would be like, no, I don't want it. No, you have it. No, I don't want it. So we've kept it in the freezer throughout the whole production. And Jason just recently moved his house, and he had a special bag, an ice freezer bag, and he carried it over to his new house. It's still there. It is over 1.5 years old.
Yeah.
The thing is a tiny, shrunken little ice cream sandwich, and it'll probably cost death if you look at it.
My
wedding cake, Joel.
What?
Wedding cake for the film.
My plan is to, on opening night, on the premiere, to eat it in front of everyone.
Because at that point, it doesn't matter if you get violently ill.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You might not make it through the whole film.
Yeah.
So that's one of the shenanigans.
Joel, didn't you buy a box and then end up going and buying another box?
Yeah, that's what I did. It was like I thought they ate the whole box, so I bought another box. And so we had 2 boxes of like 24. It was ridiculous.
That's a crazy story. You had 2 boxes of ice cream sandwiches?
Crazy,
Whoa.
No, another crazy thing about that if you
I think you're using this crazy word pretty liberally.
If you watch the other little stunt thing, Steven, we were going to shoot him like climbing up some rocks. We were going to try to find some that were not actually on the cliff edge, like just, I could get down on the ground. Steven just randomly is like, he's walking on the outside, and he's climbing on the edge of the cliff. It's literally like, it was huge. I mean, what'd you say, like maybe 400 to 500 feet down? It was something insane.
It was death.
Yeah, like straight, and he's wearing a whole like suit and like what do you call it?
Dress shoes.
Dress shoes. Can't say the word. Yeah, so he's wearing dress shoes and they're really slippery. And I'm like, what the crap are you doing? I'm like, dude, this is not what I meant. So he had to climb up.
It was a thrill. I just had to.
It's all for you, Joel. It's all for you.
This film is not OSHA regulated.
He had to climb back up anyways. So I was like, all right, I'll film it. But I was terrified. I'm like, I'm filming. Dude, if you fall, dude, like this is gonna be terrifying. But at least I have good YouTube footage.
It'll be one of the only death videos on LiveLeak that's like HD quality and
well lit.
Good traffic.
Add some effects. It'll be great.
That Kickstarter would be for his funeral then.
And then when we filmed out in the desert, we filmed out in the dunes.
Okay,
and, and he's out. We call it the desert. It was so hot.
Other people would call it the beach because the ocean is right there.
Just shut up. Just shut up. We filmed in the desert, and Steven's here in this like black tux, like black suit and everything, and I'm like, the people looking at him were amazing. They were like, "What the crap are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
He did everything in that suit.
Everything.
It needed several washings. And one of my favorite memories is when we hiked up Mount Rogers and we got to the top and did most of the forest scene. But like we had to do another scene. It was just like a few yards away, and so we would go down, shoot another scene down there, and I'd run through the forest again. So my body temperature is rising steadily. And then we wanted to do another scene, which was just over there a ways, and so we'd walk. And like before we knew it, I had hiked, I don't know, maybe 2 miles in a full suit, like on this mountain, walking around doing different scenes, the rock climbing scene, which from what I hear won't be in the movie.
There's a possible chance it might go in. Hey, don't forget we filmed in the snow as well. I was like, Steven,
Yeah.
let's go film in the snow. We got up.
That was my next story of hating Joel, but continue.
I found a video clip because every day we would shoot. I'd bring my iPhone and we'd film a little behind the scenes because I could use it for the Kickstarter or for using it later for just behind the scenes footage. And I found a clip where he's just swearing at me in the phone. He's like, "I will effing kill you if this shot is not in the film." But he's
so cold.
He's wearing a suit. Then he gets into the space suit and everything, and he was like, his fingers were just like just freaking out. Like it was really cold.
I didn't say anything to Joel because I wanted like to focus on the film and get this over as soon as possible. But in the back of my mind, I was like, what does frostbite feel like? I really don't know because I haven't experienced this before. And so
Because, you don't want to be a whiner, but at the same time, like, if your limbs are about to fall off,
I think I can
it
do
might be
this.
something
Yeah,
you
what
want to
would
like
Christian
bring
Bale
up
do?
so we can at least talk about it.
Exactly.
That's all I gotta say, Steven. You were a trooper. Like the night we were filming in the junkyard, you had a group of guys who their job was to just haul you out of a pickup truck and throw you on the ground. And they were really excited at their chance to be in a movie, so they were really doing it. Like they were just hauling you out and tossing you down, and they did it over and over and over. And like you toughed through pretty much everything Joel came up with you for to, like you never said, "Nope, that's a stupid idea. I'm not doing it."
Fortunately for you guys, for everyone involved, I was just keeping everything I wanted to say in my head and practicing self-restraint.
It'll all be worth it when that royalty check comes in.
Exactly.
That Hollywood money.
Here's $25 for all your help.
Well, I'm not that much, okay.
Hey, speaking of junkyard scene, do you have Josh's clip?
Do I? No, I couldn't get it. I couldn't upload it. I'm sorry. There's one take where the bandits are taking Steven's character out of the back of the truck and dragging him. Well, one of them, which is a friend of mine, he helped out that night. He goes over, but his feet catch, and so he just straight face plants, just bam, right on the dirt. And I got it all on camera. It's amazing.
He's
It's
like,
at least a 5-foot
cool
drop.
stuff.
So it's a 5-foot drop, and he like face plants on the floor.
And it's great because, like, if you just swung the camera past it in the scene, you would never notice it. But when you see it, it's so hilarious. It's one of those things you should almost leave it in the movie so people can notice it, like on their second or third viewing.
Well, if anything, it'll be in the bonus feature. So donate and help us
I
film.
have so many hours. So it's
All right. So the Kickstarter goes up Tuesday, the what,
Yep.
6th, 7th?
Yeah,
7th.
and the website normanthefilm.com will be up. It'll be launched on the 7th. So you could go there now, but it's passworded, so I can't get in.
By the
But
time
it'll all be launching, so.
So you will see this if you're. Don't try to like write all this stuff down if you're watching this right now. Dave and I will be promoting this pretty heavily on our channel, so you will get to see all the trailers. You will get to see links to the website. We're going to talk about this again. This isn't the only time we're going to talk about it, but we did want to take like a nice chunk of this podcast to talk about it because every week you get to see things that Dave and I work on, and we talk about stuff that we're really passionate about. And this is something that Joel has been very passionate about for a very long time, and he hasn't really been able to show to that many people.
And
So-
most of what you guys see from Joel tends to be stuff like the the crazy cult preacher video that I put up today from Daisy last night. that's the usual side of Joel that you guys see. It's just the crazy shenanigans. So it's cool to see some of his like hardcore film work here.
Yeah,
it's something
Hardcore
like
film work.
everyone who's on the podcast is very, very talented at what they do, myself included. No, everyone who's on the podcast is very, very talented at what they do. Like all the regulars we have on. I'm sure you guys who are new tonight are too. I'm just saying anyway. The normal crew that everyone's familiar with.
Now this is getting
They're
personal.
very talented. They're very talented, but we just don't always talk about it as much because it doesn't really pertain to the podcast all the time. But yeah, that's why we did tonight's podcast. So you will get to see tons of stuff about this movie as it nears completion. I guess I can't make any promises for Joel how much you'll get to see beyond what we showed you on the podcast tonight, but you'll definitely be seeing all that again on our channels. Better
yeah.
quality.
Well,
and stuff,
there'll be some exclusive content that I'm sending out
Ooh.
to Dave and
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Jeremiah
yeah.
that they're going to have on their channel to help kind of keep the buzz going for the 30 days of the Kickstarter. So
I haven't actually talked about it yet, but I got to design one of the main characters in the film, which is that device. And this was actually the first 3D model that I've created that was designed to be printed. I've done a lot of work on architectural stuff, game graphics, that kind of thing. It was very interesting to design a model that basically had to be geometrically like sound. There couldn't be holes in it. It had to be something that could be printed and like actually assembled. And we had some different parts and stuff that we wanted to be able to add inside of it. And I'll have a video going up talking about my work on that model. That was kind of cool to actually design a main character and a 3D model to be printed. That was my first printed model for sure.
All right, well, guys, Jonah and Steven, thank you for joining us. Of course, you're welcome to stay on for the rest of the podcast, but thank you for joining us and talking about the movie tonight.
Absolutely.
You guys have been awesome.
Thanks,
And
Steven.
now we're going to move on to what we were going to talk about at the beginning of the podcast if everything hadn't gone terribly wrong. So first of all, Kmack, welcome back to the podcast.
What is going on?
We had you on a couple months ago, and at the time you were eagerly awaiting your Xbox One, and now you've had it for like 2 months. So how do you feel about it 2 months in?
2 months into Xbox One, I would say underwhelmed so far would be my reaction to it. Nothing game-changing or really that you would need, I guess. A lot of disappointing things about it. If I were going to tell someone right now to buy one or not buy one, if they had 360, I would say no.
Why? Why is that?
Well, it's just not worth it. There's no games. There's no games on it that you can't play it on a 360. And even half the time, those games just drop out. It took me 25 minutes to join a game of Battlefield yesterday.
Well, that might be another problem. Wait, real quick, Joel says he has something he wants to say before he forgets about the film.
Sorry,
Before we
super
move on.
quick. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just one last thing about the Kickstarter that James mentioned to me is that I'm hoping for the 7,000. If I do get that, it doesn't necessarily have to stop there because anything above that, honestly, will go to helping with other areas of production. Like my brother, there's some sound plugins that we really need, and they're like $800 a piece. So the money is like. We could try to get by with that and do it on our own, but it's insanely hard. So most of this money is going to visual effects, but anything beyond can help me considerably for audio effects, for flying Steven back on the plane. Like that's stuff that I'm going to be trying to pay for out of my own pocket if I can save up if I can. So anything beyond that. So like if it gets there, you can still keep telling everyone, your friends and family and stuff like that I need help. So that was all I was going to say. That
Okay. All right.
Really helps
cool.
you out.
Really helps you out.
yeah. Just go ahead and give me a like.
So, Kyle, I mean, Battlefield 4 is horribly broken on the PC. I don't know if you knew that.
I'm aware.
Okay. Yeah, if you've been on Reddit at all or anywhere else,
God.
you've probably it's come up once or twice. So, is it pretty broken on Xbox One too?
Very. Like I said, it took me 25 minutes to get into a game, and if you're trying to get into a rush server, it'll just put you into any kind of server. You never get into the right kind of game type. It's just a grab bag of what game type you're going to be thrown into, and it's terrible. Right now, it's almost unplayable. Once you get in, everything runs smoothly until the game drops out. I'm sure you guys are aware of it just dropping you out of the servers and kicking you back to main menu and all that kind of fun stuff. That's just awful in my opinion. It shouldn't be done in today's day and age with the technology. I can't believe it. I couldn't believe I spent over $700 to get kicked out of a lobby. Is mind blowing.
Well, what I find interesting is the game ran so well for Dave when he was in London playing on an Xbox One. They definitely were not having these issues, and the Battlefield 4 beta wasn't this bad.
Oh no,
Um,
I played it on 360. It was fine.
so,
Yeah.
Dave, do you think it was just like a vertical slice they made for London?
The build that I played on in London was about 2.5 weeks before the game went retail, and graphically it was really rough around the edges. The final game looks much better. Stability was good. My Xbox One froze a couple of times. Am I breaking like an NDA by saying I don't know? I don't care.
They're probably not going to see this. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah, let's
All listening.
this is gonna hit IGN any second now. Yeah, overall the game went really smoothly. Most of the problems that we had that we couldn't do were related to bugs in the game that weren't fixed yet. Like we couldn't use flashbangs, that would crash the server, and we couldn't fall out of a helicopter and like die off of the map out of the like actual battle area. That would crash the server. But that was basically it. Like it was pretty stable.
Well, so, I mean, Battlefield 4, we know it has its issues. We've talked about it on the podcast. I'm very close to not wanting to play it anymore just because it's such a grab bag anytime we try to hop in and play it. Sometimes it's really fun and sometimes it's incredibly frustrating. But ignoring Battlefield, like, what other games do you play on your Xbox One? Like, how has the experience been besides that?
I do have COD Ghost on it. It's not that much better than 360. I just yesterday or the other day, I actually I had some downloadable games. I picked up Halo Spartan Assault, which is a top-down third-person Halo shooter game, and I also picked up Zoo Tycoon as well. And those games,
Zoo Tycoon is on Xbox One?
you bet your ass it is.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I never played Zoo Tycoon, but Roller Coaster Tycoon and Tycoon 2, I've put a irresponsible amount of time into.
Oh. And I just installed it on my Mac. I had to like hack in with Juicebox and all these kind of programs because it's not made for Mac. So I took me like 3 days of YouTube videos. Cause I still have my original disc from like 2001, and I just got it working on my MacBook. So I was pumped to play it.
Mm-hmm. So, would you say if someone is thinking about buying an Xbox One now, do you think they should wait to see what games come out early next year, or wait for a price drop, or?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Like right now, you are not missing anything as far as I'm concerned. Maybe when Titanfall comes out, I believe in like March.
Yeah, it's March.
March would be the time to get one, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, well, I've gone back and forth on getting a PS4 a couple times. Joel's been trying to encourage me to get one.
I have Battlefield 4 on PS4 now.
Yeah, good for you.
You're the only one, Joel. The only one.
But the reason, like, I haven't wanted to get a next generation console yet is like I just don't know what I would want to play on it that I can't play now. I mean, I'm not gonna buy the console for Killzone Shadowfall. Like that's that's not worth it. So pretty much everything else I want to play I can already play, and it just seems like, well, for that money I could almost get a new video card. So,
right?
But yeah, I'm just so with your disappointing experience with the Xbox One so far. When are you going to join the master race?
Oh, there it is.
I knew that question was coming. I
figured that would be coming from me, not Jeremiah. Wow,
you'd be such a good addition, though. You'd be such a good addition to the group.
I've taught you well, Jeremiah.
You mean the PS4 master race?
Oh, shots fired.
You say that, Jeremiah, but I did just upgrade a graphics card and blue screen my computer.
It's dangerous on the edge, Dave. It's dangerous on the edge. 2 graphics cards. That's the thing. You can buy a middle-of-the-road processor, middle-of-the-road graphics card, middle-of-the-road everything, spend $600, and be happy as a clam and play pretty much any game on at least medium to high settings. But Dave, that's not good enough for Dave. Dave wants to push those frontiers and buy giant...
Do you guys see how big this card is? All right, compared to my face right here. That's like 12 inches long. It weighs about 4 pounds.
See, Dave wants to live on the cutting edge. He doesn't.
That's what your mom says.
Oh my goodness. He wants 2 of those.
This is the second one of these that I've purchased now.
It's the same thing when I had Crossfire. Like, it was hot. It had issues a lot. A lot of games didn't work right. But man, when it was working, it's kind of like owning what I imagine owning an old vintage muscle car with like 500 horsepower would be like. You spend most of your time trying to get it to start and pull out of the driveway, but when it does, it's beautiful and everyone loves it. But so ignoring all that, Kmack, so let's say middle of the road PC build. What would it take to get you to do that?
Honestly, if I knew what the hell I was doing with the PC, I would have the money right now just from that YouTube money I've been making lately. Right? I would have it in the budget to drop anywhere from, let's say, $1,200 to $1,500.
Dude, if you live anywhere near me, I will build it for you.
I built Joel's new computer a few months ago, which he did as ignoring for his PS4.
I don't want you to call out where you live live, but if you want to throw it into the chat, like the general area, no one else will see that in the side chat here. If you live anywhere close to us, if you wanted to get a PC, we would help you build it if that was at all possible.
I don't care if people know where I live. I'm from Illinois.
Oh, well, never mind. No, actually, you're decently close to one member of our podcast, but they're not here tonight. But no, I mean, I'd mail one, like I'd build and mail one to you. I'd pick up recommendations. Honestly, since you don't really, you haven't built one before, there's some.
You aren't passionate about PCs, are you?
They're decent pre-builds you could get. I'm not trying to push you too hard, but if that was something you thought about doing, there's some really good pre-builds you could get in that price range.
Steam box is coming up here soon too.
I wouldn't buy a Steam box yet. I mean, because really, it's a PC. I would just buy a normal PC, and if the Steam software is awesome, like if Steam OS turns out to be awesome, you can always dual boot it if you want to. I would just buy
but for a starter
PC.
I mean, it's hard to argue with that convenience.
No, definitely. But you could order like a PC from Origin PC or a Main Gear or someone like them.
Yeah.
And then you could upgrade the graphics cards and stuff as the years go by.
Yes, you can.
So I'm not going to push you any more about it, but just let that
It just scares me. I don't know anything about building a PC. I don't know anything about it, and that's basically why I've stuck with consoles. Is just it's there, it's done, it's ready to go when you buy it, and it may not give you the best performance 4 or 5 years down the road, but it's going to consistently work for you, and you don't have to worry about buying a graphics card or upgrading whatever.
It has gotten a lot easier compared to how it was even like 5 or 6 years ago. Joel, we built yours 2 months ago, and it took maybe 2 hours tops to put everything together and boot in, and we were good to go.
Yep, and we booted right into Windows 8.
I built 2 computers today. I built 3 this week, and I think I'm down to 20 minutes now. It's really not.
God.
It's not complicated. There's only 5 or 6 main parts, and you just have to know how they plug in. If someone's showing you how to do it, it seems intimidating until the first time you do it, and it is really easy. Like Dave said, it's gotten so much easier.
We should just call this podcast Kmack Gets Peer Pressured.
The peer pressure stops. The peer pressure stops. But if you did build one, you could play DayZ with us.
I was just about to say, I've been wanting to play DayZ. I've seen a lot of standalone videos and live streams lately, and it's really interesting.
It is really interesting.
It is interesting.
Dude,
now, Dave,
start playing.
You wanted to talk about that at the beginning of the podcast, but obviously that didn't work out because your computer wasn't starting. But Iceman Garage, answer your question. No one on the podcast has tried to get SteamOS to work yet. We're gonna wait till it gets a little more stable. But Dave, what did you want to talk about with DayZ this week?
Well, we hadn't talked about it too much because of our Lootcast 2013. I just wanted to bring it up briefly because we actually started this podcast in, I think it was mid-December 2012, right?
I think it was late November, maybe.
We started planning it in late November, but I think our first episode wasn't until early December.
Okay, so sometime around that time.
Somewhere around a year ago, basically. And the idea behind the podcast was to cover the latest news and all that in PC gaming, but mainly focusing on Battlefield and DayZ. And at the time, we thought that the DayZ Alpha was going to be out at the end of the month in December 2012. So we're like, we got to get this podcast online right now, get some news going, get ready to just talk about DayZ. And then December passed, and January and February, and then the speculation started. If you go back on our older podcast, it's probably 25% of our content is just random speculation about the release of the alpha. It's just cool to see it finally a year later. It's out, and the wait was definitely worth it. The game is pretty incredible, and the roadmap that they have laid out for the direction of the alpha and the beta and the final retail game is really exciting. It's very clear that Dean and the rest of his new team know exactly what they want out of the game. They're very focused on that, and they're dedicated to doing it right. There's a very good reason we did not get the alpha in December 2012. That would have been a repackaged kind of hacked on version of the mod, and so many of the new things that we have, the server client system, the inventory, the updated render engine, the way that loot is tracked and zombies are tracked, and the framework that they have laid for the survival systems and the diseases, all of that base level engine work, none of that would have been possible if they had kept with just repackaging the mod last year. So although it's been a long year of waiting, I was kind of the optimist all along, and that's been a painful year for me. I'd say it's been well worth it. Have you guys been enjoying it?
I've definitely been enjoying it. I want them to add more content now, though, because like we hit endgame in an hour, pretty much. I mean, you can gear up now that we know what to do. We know. It's kind of nice though. We know all the game mechanics. We know everywhere where there's stuff. Like we know everything there is to know right now because
you guys still get lost way too easily. I mean, it's really just disappointing at this point.
I'm not as good at recognizing landmarks on a 200 square kilometer piece of land as you are.
Yeah, guys.
In the real world, I'm very good about it. But in DayZ, I'm not that great.
I would say that DayZ right now is there's not much to do unless you have friends. It's a lot like playing GTA 5, where it's kind of just run amok and come up with things to try to do. Where the game doesn't kind of like lead you in saying this is like you're I don't know, like it not that it gives you quests, but it doesn't go like if I was playing alone, it's the most boring game alive.
That's possible unless you try to interact with everyone you met.
Yeah.
It would be really
so
boring.
the game is really find people so you can have some sort of fun, whether it's your friends or someone else. Like that's it. There's not really much survival on your.
We lost Joel again, so I'll just pick
we
up
lost
where
Joel.
he left off.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'll agree with Joel. There's not a whole lot of content. Obviously, we're here in the initial alpha, and a lot of what we are seeing is just the framework. I'll disagree, though, with what he's saying about like the only fun you can have is with friends. I can enjoy the game by myself, but I know better, because if I played DayZ more than I have by myself, you guys would never see me. I'd be out in the woods with like a horde of supplies. I'd be crawling around, spying on people. No one would ever talk to me.
You are the exception. You are the exception to this.
I'll agree. I'm the exception.
You have to understand that. Like, you are a huge exception. I mean, how many hours do you have in Fallout and through all those games? Like an insane amount.
Stalker, the same kind of game, yeah. But Dean is the same way. So I'm excited about where the game's going. Dean's my bro.
You're turning into a World of Warcraft like addiction.
In all seriousness, though, I'm avoiding playing it without you guys, because I know that I can play it for hours on my own and like really get into it if I'm not careful.
Well, we're playing it faster than pretty much any other game we play. I've put 33 hours into it, and that's in just over 2 weeks.
33, you said? I gotta check now.
Joel, why are there two of you in the podcast right now?
I'm only at 43. That's not too bad.
No, Joel, for real, why are there two of you in the podcast?
Holy crap. Joel is time traveling.
I have no idea. I'm sorry.
Well, that's weird.
What is with Google Hangouts tonight? Seriously.
Ever.
No, I see. I mean, I love DayZ too. When we were playing the other night, like, I feel like every time I play though, I have to like try to force something to make it fun. Like I have to force the game to be fun. That's the only problem I don't like about it. Where it's like I really want to feel like I'm surviving and doing things, and the loot they have in the game is not really that much fun. Like to loot, like once you get it, then that's it. Like I'm excited for more things to be in there. Once they have notes that you can pin up to walls so people can bounties and you can check it out. But then I'm worrying like, yeah, I'm gonna look at this bounty that says, kill this guy over in so-and-so, and I'll run 3 hours over there to realize he's logged out, 2 days ago. So it's like,
yeah,
like there's got to be a system that it's got to be hardcore, but it doesn't mean the controls have to be crappy. And like I think they can put game elements into it that can make it really fun. That breaks a little bit of the immersion, but it's gonna make it so much more fun for people to play. Because all I did last night was I ran for 35 minutes to catch up to people because I'm not gonna play on my own. Like that means if I'm playing on my own, I'm gonna probably just disconnect from TeamSpeak because you guys are talking about things going on and I'm just by myself, and it's hard to hear other players if I'm playing by myself.
Right.
Like because if you guys are talking, I can't hear what other people are saying near me, so I gotta play with you guys so I have the same kind of experience. So I hope the game kind of allows you to do something that connects with people and get, I don't know, team up, because that's honestly where the fun begins, is when you're teamed up.
True.
All right, so we've been going for well over an hour and a half now. So
We got another 2 hours in us.
while we're winding down,
I'll get more
actually,
coffee.
actually, something I want to talk to Kmack about because you've got a pretty good sized YouTube channel, and YouTube has made a lot of changes recently, and I mean everyone's pretty aware of what the changes are. I mean they've just changed a lot of things, especially for people who put video game content up. So there's been lots of content IDs and people getting a lot of their videos yanked and stuff like that. So as a large channel, how has that affected you?
So far, I've only had, I think, a handful of videos been hit with the third-party claims. It wasn't any big deal. They're like older videos. They weren't getting any views anyway. So I just took them down. It really wasn't a big deal for me. I mean, it hasn't really affected me personally all that greatly. I know that there are bigger channels out there than me that have been just torn to pieces with this. But personally, for me, not so bad so far. I mean, it just went into effect, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm currently not partnered with any like kind of makers or anything like that, so I'm just rocking the Google AdSense money right now.
Really? Okay, so you can do that even if you're not you didn't put video game content up? Because what I always heard is you have to be partnered or video game content won't count.
I think it's like a partnership through AdSense, but previously I was with Maker Studios, but I left them in mid-November, I believe. I wouldn't leave. I was kicked out, but basically I've been rocking the AdSense money since. I'm looking for another partnership, but I have a copyright strike on my channel from like back in 2007-ish, and I just put in for to get it removed because I didn't think it would ever bother me. So I have to wait for that, which is in early March, until I can get another partnership.
Well, shoot. Well, they're paying you for now, so
yeah,
it's not that bad at least.
That's one problem I have with YouTube is it's so hard to get admins to do stuff if you need things done
I know.
like that.
I couldn't get a hold of anybody. Like, all the emails they send you are like, "Do not reply at this."
Duh.
You can't get a hold of anybody.
Well, that's Google's whole support structure. Is here's this thing. If it works, great. If not, visit the forums.
Yeah, it was terrible. I still haven't gotten hold of anybody. But all I know is right now I'm making about 65% of what I could be making, just because they're taking their cut and they're taking a bigger cut than that network that I got an offer from would be taking. So.
Oh, AdSense takes a cut too?
Yeah, they take. I think it's like 35% right off the top before taxes. I could be wrong on that number, but I know they take some kind of percent. It's like a 60-40 split when it comes down to it. And I got as soon as my channel went off of Maker Studios books, I had at that time over 25,000 subscribers and gaining about 800,000 views a month. So I got offers from just about every major studio out there. All wanted to partner with me, but I wanted to, but I couldn't because I have that copyright strike. So as soon as that's gone in early March, I should be good to go and be partnered up, hopefully with a good deal. I'm looking for like a 90-10 split, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Cool. Well, best of luck to you in doing that. I'll be kind of interesting to see how that plays out for you because I'm pretty happy with the people I'm partnering with now. I mean, I have no complaints, but they don't really do a whole lot for me. So I'm not, opposed to looking for something with a better split because I don't have a great split now. But then again, I don't have any problems. I haven't got tagged on any videos for anything. Like I've got no strikes. I guess I'm small enough that I'm flying under the radar, or I don't know. But
I think you just got lucky because I believe how it worked before is if you were partnered through a network, you were actually exempt from content ID for gaming-related things, and they switched that so that even if you're partnered through a gaming network like Machinima, now all of your videos are put through content ID. I believe that's what the main change that happened, what really caught gaming channels by surprise. I think you just got lucky. I had about 9 IDs, but I'd say of the 9, 8 of them were just like in-game music that got matched because music, obviously the developers don't have the full rights to the music used in their games. They have a composer that comes in and does that. I get that. And for a long time now, I've been pulling music out of videos that I do, so it was all older videos, like Kmack was saying.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go right ahead.
I was just gonna say, I didn't get that many content IDs, but a lot of my videos lately, I'd say if I put up 4 videos a week, I'd say 1 out of those 4 will be denied monetization. And it seems to be all of my Battlefield videos are the only ones being denied monetization. I know I had a video I put up about a month and a half ago about how to rank up quickly, and it's gotten around 90,000 views since then, and I didn't see a dime from that video because I was denied monetization for that video. And it's literally just gameplay and commentary, and that's it. There's no music, no nothing. It wasn't content ID claimed. They were just denied monetization, and I have no clue why. I can't get a hold of Google to ask them why.
I think I actually might know why, but I can't answer the question on air. I'll talk to you afterwards.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
There's a mystery afoot.
Well, actually,
Right?
that is a good time to wind down, because like I said, we have been going for a long time. This has been one of our longer episodes, but it's been good. I'm sorry you weren't able to make it for the first half or so of the podcast, Kmack, and I'm sorry, Dave, that you were blue screened. And I'm sorry, Joel, that your internet's been dropping out. I'm just sorry, everybody. I'm just sorry for everything.
I'm so much sorry.
I'm so sorry. We'll just take a do-over, and we'll come back. We'll come back the week when Kmack is ready to get a PC, so we can talk options and stuff. Okay,
guys,
this
is a strong start to 2014 right here.
Very, very strong start. But thank you for watching. Probably next week or the week after, we're going to start talking about our personal games of the year for 2013, stuff like that. That was a lot of fun to do last year. So until then, thank you for watching. Follow us on Twitter at Evil Viking, at JERMgaming, at, what's your Twitter? Kmack?
Kmack Time. At Kmack Time.
At Kmack Time. And then on YouTube, Kmack, or is it Kmack Time again on YouTube?
Yeah, I think that'll come up if you type in Kmack Time.
Okay, and then Evil Viking 13 and JERMgaming. And then Joel, look for the movie Norman. Look for the Kickstarter. We'll be pimping it out come Tuesday, and it'll be a really awesome time. So thank you, everybody, for watching. As always, if you want to be a part of the show, write in at Casual Shenaniga or write to casualshenanigans@gmail.com, and we will all see you later.
Thanks, guys,
Take
for
it
letting
easy,
me
guys.
hack this podcast.
Stay casual.